Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something super fascinating: how applied cognitive neuroscience is completely changing the game for how organizations operate and make those big, critical decisions. We're going to be exploring the really groundbreaking work of Ana Guerrero. Her methodology is all about helping leaders build organizational cultures that are actually prepared for rapid market changes. It's about getting professionals ready to learn and continuously retrain themselves whenever new digital tools pop up, and she makes a really strong case for this. The future of business absolutely belongs to organizations that put people right at the center of their systems.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the decision-making crisis, then look at how neuroscience meets data science. From there, escaping analysis paralysis, moving to skills over academic degrees, and finally, mastering operational adaptability.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the decision-making crisis, understanding cognitive overload.
Did you know the human brain makes roughly 35,000 decisions every single day? It's kind of wild to think about. From the absolute second you wake up, your biological machinery is just constantly processing. Should I hit snooze? What am I going to wear? Which route has less traffic today? By the time you've even picked out what to watch on Netflix with your morning coffee, your brain has essentially already run a marathon. But here's the catch. This incredible processing power has serious limits, especially when you push it into a high-stakes corporate environment.
And that leads us to a really massive problem. Cognitive overload actively sabotages our mental clarity. When it's actually time to make a huge strategic choice for your business, your brain is often totally tapped out. Think about it. We're basically trying to run modern, hyper-complex organizations on biological hard drives that are already filled up with temporary files. You just can't make a crystal-clear, high-level decision when your brain is already completely exhausted from processing thousands of mundane, everyday variables.
Moving right along to Section 2, neuroscience meets data science, the THINK25 framework.
So, how do we fix this? Well, this brings us to a framework called THINK25. Our source material describes this as a completely new operating system for decision-making. And what makes this so unique is that it actively combines cognitive neuroscience with advanced data science. The goal here isn't to fight against your brain's natural programming, but to actually work alongside it. It perfectly aligns with Ana Guerrero's vision of putting the focus squarely back on the people who are driving the technology.
Let's break down how this works in practice. There are 3 distinct steps. First up, the ecosystem identifies your unconscious patterns. Those invisible little routines your brain uses just to save energy. Second, it actively trains your brain against cognitive biases, things like confirmation bias that so often lead us down the wrong path in business. And finally, step 3. After clearing out those blind spots, it generates a numerical confidence score. This is huge because it gives you a clear, totally objective measure of how reliable a specific strategic choice actually is.
Which brings us to Section 3, escaping analysis paralysis, humans and AI.
Now, knowing how this works under the hood naturally brings up a really big question. Where exactly do humans fit into this highly analytical process? Well, this methodology strikes a pretty perfect balance between human beings and artificial intelligence. It does this through a very clear division of labor. The AI, it does the heavy lifting. It validates the mathematical models and assesses all the different scenarios fairly without ever getting tired. And the human role? We get to judge and decide with true clarity. We get to keep the focus on the people impacted by the choice. So the AI isn't replacing us. It's actually amplifying our capacity to be effective strategic leaders. The result of this partnership is honestly profound. By transforming all that scattered, chaotic intelligence into structured, highly transparent decisions, leaders can literally just say goodbye to analysis paralysis. It's totally eliminated. When you're sitting there looking at clear strategic matrices and you have real-time numerical confidence indices right in front of you, all the guesswork is just gone. You're making decisions with a transparent structure, which means you can move swiftly and confidently, even in a crazy fast-paced market.
All right, on to Section 4. Skills over academic degrees, the future of talent.
Now, this technology doesn't just change how we look at market data. It fundamentally transforms how we map and evaluate human talent. Take a look at this comparison. Traditional hiring leans so heavily on academic degrees and super rigid criteria, which, as we know, is often just plagued by unconscious bias. But the THINK25 approach completely flips the script. It focuses entirely on behavioral skills, real adaptability, and practical merit. To survive today's rapid market changes, companies absolutely have to stop evaluating talent solely on a piece of paper earned years ago and start looking at the adaptable skills people possess right now. And by mapping out these real strategic competencies,
Organizations are able to create drastically fairer hiring practices. It truly levels the playing field. Plus, it allows leadership to build internal growth paths based entirely on practical merit. Because think about it, if an organization genuinely wants to place people at the center of its systems, evaluating them fairly based on what they can actually do in the real world is the absolute foundation.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, Mastering Operational Adaptability, Continuous Evolution. This idea of talent mapping ties directly into our final core concept. Aligning neuroscience with data science isn't just about making one really good decision today. It's about building an organization that is continuously prepared for tomorrow. Developing a mindset of continuous evolution is just no longer optional. As Ana Guerrero emphasizes, you literally have to prepare professionals to learn and constantly retrain themselves as new digital tools emerge. This ecosystem gives organizations true operational adaptability. It trains your team to recalibrate strategies in a highly agile way when the market inevitably shifts. It transforms what used to be paralyzing uncertainties into rock-solid, secure action plans.
The reality is, the future of work absolutely demands the development of new skills and continuous operational resilience. To really thrive, organizations have to respond to changes in a way that is sustainable and talent-driven. You can't just react to the market using a brain that's bogged down by those 35,000 daily micro-decisions we talked about earlier. You need to rely on strategic decision intelligence to chart the course ahead. It essentially becomes this continuous, infinite loop of operational resilience.
Our source material leaves us with this incredibly powerful mandate. Give your brain a chance. Don't decide in the dark. It's a real call to action to just change the game. We need to be making transparent, fair decisions focused on true human potential, rather than just relying on exhausted biological hardware and totally outdated metrics.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Will you let cognitive overload and rigid criteria dictate the future of your organization? Or are you ready to embrace a new operating system that puts human potential and continuous adaptability right at the absolute center of your success? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.